throughout the nation and around the globe. From his heart to yours, it's Dear James Live, bringing you intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And we are right in that eclipse corridor. The second Virgo new moon is coming up along with the partial solar eclipse. Sunday, the 21st of September, followed the next day by the autumnal equinox, where equal day and night. So it begins fall in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern, and powerful energies. So let's jump in. Let's see what we're dealing with. So the current energies, and welcome Kiki, welcome Alicia. We've got double nines, that small restraint, surrender. We have 17 following, show by example. And this is about follow, be led. It's listening to your soul source connection. They culminate in a 26, which is about controlled power, how we harness our power, how we utilize it, how we ensure that we are not giving it away, and we are also not running roughshod over ourselves and others. And then, of course, it ultimately culminates in an 8, uniting, unite, how we unite from the inside out. So let's take a look. We're using the chart for the Venus enters Virgo that is coming up on the 19th of September. And in the center of the chart, you see this beautiful, it's called a kite formation in astrology. And so it has a mini grand trine at the bottom. It has the grand trine at the top, the blue triangle at the top. We have a direct opposition because, of course, coming up on the 21st, this Virgo, the second Virgo new moon at that anaretic degree of 29 degrees. So it's a powerful degree. It will be conjunct. So the sun and moon will be together. And then at 29 degrees Virgo, it will be conjunct the south node, meaning together with what we're releasing. And then it will oppose Neptune and Saturn. And so there's a lot of growth here. And then, of course, the mini grand trine is between Pluto retrograde, Neptune and Saturn retrograde, and Uranus retrograde. So there's a lot of internal works that are going to be happening, but of course, external. And the funny thing is when I looked at that, welcome Sue, when I looked at this chart, and this same, just to bring it up again really quickly, this same kite formation is going to be playing out for the second Virgo new moon, the partial solar eclipse, the solstice that's coming up. So this chart, this kite formation and these energies and everything, and it's literally, it said to me, I dream of GENIE. And it's number 3 from the unseen. I dream of GENIE. Your wish is my command. And it has to do with the star card and wish fulfillment. And so this is that we've been dealing with these, the star card, the hermit, the temperance, and the tower. And so this, your wish is my command. And then they said, be mindful of what you wish for. That law of attraction and universal law, because it's law of attraction. So while there's this aspect of I dream of GENIE, and of course in the series with Barbara Eden, the astronaut is, lands off course. She's within the GENIE bottle and she rolls along. He finds it, rubs the bottle, opens it, and out pops Barbara Eden as GENIE. And so there's this aspect, and of course, the series itself went on about, it was a story about love and service and helping and so forth. So there's an aspect of this Venus in Virgo. I mean, you have the divine feminine in the sign of the divine feminine and this aspect of service. And it's also a time annually where harvests are made, and the example of the wheat from the chaff, how the wheat is harvested and it's separated from the useful from the chaff that's not useful, that is a protective shell, but it's not edible and so forth. So you get the idea. This I dream of Genie, your wish is my command. However, be mindful of what you're wishing for, because there's universal law and law of attraction built into it, into these energies. And then we're going to go to our main theme. And I love this main theme. It's horse medicine revisited, but it's jump. Be ready to jump. Because again, these energies and eclipse energies and so forth are all about, and this is conjunct the south node. So the lunar eclipse that occurred on the 7th of September, that was conjunct the north node, where we're going. This solar eclipse is going to be conjunct the south node. So the lunar was the north node, the solar is the south node, what we're releasing. And last week we had, it was our astro influences energies. It was jump, leaving it all in the past. So now the main theme becomes jump, be ready to jump. You see the theme? Jump. And so, and it's interesting too, because the song Jump was the lead single from Van Halen's 10-time platinum selling album, 1984. And it's purported that the US Army's 82nd Airborne Division uses it when they're doing parachuting exercises. And, you know, whether it's intentional or involuntary, this aspect of jump, being pushed out of the plane, jump, and this aspect of intentional or involuntary, that's the tower. Because remember, all of this is happening for us, not to us. And so the star, welcome Colleen. So you get to the tower. We're getting to these tower moments. Is it intentional or involuntary? Which train are we on? Which wolf are we feeding? Are we in the flow, or are we being counteractive to the soul, our soul source action? And Colleen is saying jump twice now. Yes, this is going to be about jumping, knowing when to jump, and do it voluntarily. Don't want, intentionally. You don't want it to be involuntary. So in spiritual context, to jump signifies making a decisive leap of faith, embracing new opportunities, and undergoing a significant personal transformation by moving from inertia to action. It represents aligning your energy, thoughts, and intentions with a higher frequency, often requiring trust in a divine plan or universal forces to shift your life's course. Being ready to jump means preparing for this transformative moment by shedding old beliefs, trusting your intuition, and being open to a new reality, even when the outcome is uncertain. This is all about listening to your soul source connection, unite from the inside out, going as guided. 17, hexagram 17, follow, be led, be the example. And that it really is talking about this leap of faith and trust. And, taking a risk, divine guidance, aligning frequencies, personal transformation, inner awareness, trust in the process, and this action beyond thought. Jumping is an action that requires movement and a decision to leave behind a state of being stuck or inactive. It's a conscious choice. It's conscious alignment with where I know, my soul, I know what to do, where to go, what not to do. And this embracing change. It is a conscious choice to grow and to be open to a new perspective on life, rather than remaining accustomed to a comfortable but limited existence. So when we look at this beautiful main image of this white stallion, jump, be ready to jump. It's on its hindquarters and it is jumping in the air. And there's that beautiful guiding light, that guiding star, which represents the divine, the unseen, and your connection to it, your soul source connection to it. So this is where and it's number one from the unseen. Listening to your heart's desire, go as guided. So this is not listening to our mind, our ego, mind, personality, human, where it can override and tell us no, and distract and detour and barter and negotiate and all that stuff. No. Number one, it's actionary. It's the creative force from the unseen. listening to your heart's desire, what you truly know and want. Listening to your heart's desire, go as guided! Exclamation point. So they're being very clear in that this involves dreams. I dream of Genie. It's about the star card is about dreams. It's about wish fulfillment. It's about things that are at a distance. And those are being brought to us. And it's also about power. And this is where horse medicine comes in. And this is from Jess Hagen at Urban Healers of LA, her spiritual animal blog. And we're revisiting this. So, ever poised between yielding and taking action, the horse spirit animal totem is the living symbol of power and how to access it. The power of the horse built the Western world as we know it from antiquity to modern centuries, shaping beyond measure how we live our lives today. Without the strength and willingness of the spirit of horse to join and assist the spirit of mankind, there would be little to no technology to speak of on Earth. When we first climbed upon the strong back of the horse, took up her thick mane into our hands, and wielded her astounding strength and speed, she closed vast distances of time and space and opened uncountable opportunities beyond basic survival. This is caterpillar to butterfly. This is, how far can the two-legged human walk versus the vast distances that this beautiful four-legged creature, the horse, afforded humanity. Like the harnessing of fire, the bond between horse and human is a triumph of nature that teaches how to balance physical strength with mental fortitude, how to overcome psychological resistance to collaboration, and how to work in harmony for the greater good. This is Aquarian, divine matriarchal era, this how to bring these things together, how to collaborate in a positive, pure way, and how to work in harmony for the greater good. One glance at a horse, and it is clear that she is all power. There is nothing she needs to do to convince us of this. She need only stand there communicating her truest nature. Like horse, humans are majestic beings beyond comprehension. Our power is inherent in our form. We do not need to prove to others we are strong, and we do not need to display our power at the expense of diminishing another. When we do that, that's in the shadow, and that demonstrates how weak you are. When you need to shout from the rooftops your power, or oppress and suppress and demean and, just be an ogre, it's proving to others your weakness, not your strength. Horse knows that power is most effective when it is possessed with a quiet, standing reverence. When you are feeling small and trampled, call on horse spirit to carry you back to this true state of your inherent majesty, your soul, your divinity, your innate greatness. And that power doesn't require shouting from the rooftops. It just is. It is the mantra, I am. That power is everything. Jess Hagen continued, the horse spirit animal totem also knows that the desire for improvement in our personal skills and abilities is the joy of life. This medicine teaches how to walk in balance between ambition and safety. The conversation between what is physically possible and what is theoretically possible is found in the discomfort of breaking past boundaries. We've got to break through the shell. It's the phoenix rising. It's that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful mythical phoenix. Here it is, rising from the ashes, from our former selves, because we've been there, done that. And it's time for this renewal. It's time for this beautiful, caterpillar butterfly moment of transition. And so it's breaking through the boundaries and the discomfort. Horse says you are stronger than you think you are. It is the power of the horse and her willingness to serve human industriousness which has led to life as we know it today. See, it's about service. When we serve in the matriarchal Aquarian era, we the people era, is about how we serve the people. And in reciprocity, as the custodian of whatever we put out for the people, for the whole, it comes back to us. And we've talked about how that's an exact inverse of where we've been. Patriarchal, Piscean, divine masculine has been me, I. And by default, others might receive something. But this is the complete inverse. Now our focus shifts to, what do I provide outwardly to the whole that in reciprocity comes back to me and I receive? That's where we are. That's the new world. That's the new era. And this is why there's such a profound fear and challenge of the unknown, of letting go of everything we've known. But it's really simple. When we really just sit with that concept, it's pure, it's simple, and it's like, it's an aha. It makes sense. We know where we've been. We can see where we're going. Now we just have to invert, be willing to change, be willing to transition. And there's a beautiful Lauren Schneider with the Dreams and Therapy Institute has a beautiful dream, and she said, it's only the transition that's scary. And that's so very true. It's only this transition that's causing fear. But the two realms, the two where we've been and where we're going, aren't scary. They're known to us. So it's about harnessing this power and our willingness to serve human industriousness. And Jess Hagen concludes, it is good medicine to honor and return in kind the energy Horse gave to humanity. She lives ever connected to the power of universal strength. That same power of Horse is within us. And the Horse is represented by the divine feminine, the receptive force. She receives, and she knows what to do, where to go, how to do it. She harnesses the divine masculine, the creative force, to take action, to initiate. But it is her receptiveness, her listening, her knowing intuitively what to do, where to go, when to do it, when not to do it. This is the power of Horse medicine revisited. Jess Hagen, Urban Healers of LA. So as we move, because number 2 from the unseen, no turning back, no detours, just, quote, jackpot city -lane. Jackpot city, or jackpot, a large cash prize in a game or lottery, especially one that accumulates until it is won. This is an accumulation. What the unseen is saying is we can use the lottery and so forth as an example, a 3D example of something that accumulates. Jackpot, jackpot city, jackpot lane. What the unseen is saying to us is this is an accumulation of abundance, of wealth, of wisdom in all ways, in all things, that's coming to the fore. Now we see on the world stage Rome burning, so to speak, as an analogy, and we see how, the clinging and the cleaving to the past, and this just kind of rampant shadow aspect of the divine masculine. Yes, however, in the ending is the beginning, in the beginning is the end. And so one must collapse and fall as one rises and begins. It's this phoenix rising. And again, to remember, Horse medicine is, we are the mythical unicorn. They are of the same beauty and energy and courage and strength that resides within you. So don't forget that. So no turning back, no detours, just jackpot city, jackpot lane. Because also, it's remember, when we align with our soul source connection, when we align with the new, it's all green, it's all abundant, it's all verdant. It is advance. It is the golden ticket. New adventure awaits. It is the golden ticket train. It is sunflowers. You see all of this beautiful gold, orange, yellow light. This is the color and the theme of this show. And these energies are going to arc out for months to come. So again, harness it, harness it while it's present and do it intentionally. You can do it involuntarily, but that's the cosmic 2x4. Welcome, Elizabeth. That's the cosmic 2x4 that's coming to just whack you in the back of the head. No need to go that route unless you feel it necessary. So, and now let's look at, because number 4 and number 5 from the unseen, they go together. Number 4, heavenly rapture hyphen renewal. A great time of reward, renewal. So what's present, future, what's upcoming is this heavenly rapture hyphen renewal, a great time of reward, renewal. And they said it's an upcoming time, moment, event, reality. And then they said with it, number 5, the blood of Christ, spilled no longer, no more. Rapture versus rupture. And so here, the phrase, the blood of Christ spilled no longer, no more, reflects a Christian belief that Jesus' death on the cross was a one-time, final, and complete sacrifice for the sins of humanity. This idea is primarily rooted in the New Testament, particularly in Epistle to the Hebrews, which contrasts Jesus' sacrifice with the Old Covenant system of repeated animal sacrifices. It's a single perfect atonement. Under the Old Covenant, priests had to make repeated animal sacrifices for the forgiveness of sins, a temporary and incomplete solution. In contrast, Hebrews 9:12 explains that Jesus entered once for all into the holy places by means of his own blood, thus securing an eternal redemption. His perfect, sinless blood was the ultimate payment, ending the need for any other sacrifice. So hold that the blood of Christ spilled no longer, no more. And then rapture versus rupture. Well, rapture means great excitement or happiness, while rupture is an occasion when something suddenly breaks apart or bursts. So you get these things, we've been talking about it. The old train comes into the station, it's dead, it's done, it's going nowhere, it's over. Cross the platform, get on the new train express, it's going everywhere. So we have this kind of eternal salvation, atonement, and everything. And yet, this is a wake-up call to say, but it doesn't mean that just because that happened, that we can just sin and, I'm using the word sin, but, make poor choices that lead to harm of ourselves, harm of others, harm of the planet, Mother Earth, harm. And that somehow it's just, we can do it without repercussion or, Newton's theory, cause and effect. There's cause and effect. And number 5 is saying we're entering this time. So number 4, heavenly rapture hyphen renewal, a great time of reward and renewal. That it's an event, an opportunity, and yet the blood of Christ spilled no longer, no more. Rapture versus rupture. It's about wake up, because we still are in a state of karma, dharma, and karma is balance, cause and effect. So this is about, are we going to be in a state of rapture, which means individually and collectively, which means great excitement and happiness, or rupture, where something suddenly breaks or bursts apart? Are we intentionally flowing and choosing things, or is it involuntary? Is it happening for us or to us? And the choices are ours to make. So now let's run. Yes, let's run. Let's run to North Point Journal. And this is Pam Youngins. And she is speaking about first the Virgo new moon. The new moon that occurs on Sunday, September 21st will be accompanied by a partial solar eclipse. And it's either 70% or 90% of the sun will be eclipsed. So it's just shy of a total solar eclipse. This eclipse, which occurs in the very last degree of Virgo, signifies the completion of a major cycle, both individually and collectively. The exact alignment of the sun and the moon occur at 29 degrees 5 arc minutes of Virgo. This is our second Virgo new moon in 2025, the first having occurred on August 22nd, 23rd. And we've been talking about that because from that point was August, autumn, the fall. Virgo is the sign of the harvest, when crops are gathered and the valuable wheat grains are separated from the inedible chaff. This double dose of Virgo lunar cycles reinforces the need to use practical discernment in all matters. This is 17, hexagram 17, follow, be led. While we're listening with our intuition, our divine feminine, our soul source connection, we harness the divine masculine and the ego, mind, personality, human in a responsible way with discernment, so that when we execute what we're receiving, it's done in the proper manner, in the right way, at the right time. Pam Youngans goes on to the solar eclipse. This coming Sunday's solar eclipse on the 21st of September, even though it is a partial eclipse, it is likely to feel especially strong due to its close aspects to outer planets. Most notably, the sun and moon will be tightly opposite Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Pisces. Neptune in Aries is in the process of dissolving humanity's belief in might equals right. See, that's the Piscean, that's the old Piscean patriarchal ego, mind, personality way, this might equals right. Well, Neptune's here tightly in opposition to this upcoming second Virgo new moon that's conjunct the South Node at that anaretic degree of 29 degrees Virgo. So here it is dissolving this, while also helping us individually to release old identities that keep us tied to past cycles and scenarios. We've talked a lot about letting go of the masks, the labels, the identities, the stories, the scripts, all of these truths, everything that we're telling ourselves that we need in order to be safe or secure, when that's an illusion. All we need is our soul source connection and a healthy ego, mind, personality in concert and service to it. Align that way, you've got it, hands down. So Pam Youngans continues, this is an ongoing journey and requires that we have trust and faith. Without these essential qualities, we could experience a strong sense of disillusionment with this eclipse due to not seeing the concrete or immediate results, Virgo, that we prefer. So this means because Neptune and Saturn are in opposition, tightly opposite this new moon and this solar eclipse and the equinox energies, it may take a beat, but this is why they're saying jump, be ready to jump. And last week, the astro influences was jump, leaving it all in the past. So there's a clear aspect here that these energies are shifting us forward, are literally propelling us. Be voluntary about it, be in the flow with it. And Elizabeth is saying, looking at it all from a neutral position is making it all more manageable. If not, I think I would lose my mind. Yes, because these energies are intense. I'm sure everyone is feeling there's an intensity. There's a little bit of, not necessarily aggressiveness, but just this hum that's really kind of, that's agitating. Because you can feel the change coming. You can feel it. It's like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. So to Elizabeth's point, when we look at things from this divine neutral place, it's happening for me. It's about change. It's about power, how I harness power. And it is about how I go as guided when I'm called to do so. However, listen and discernment. Listen, listen, listen to your soul source connection at this time, to the wisdom of your soul. We should be doing that every day, all day long, throughout our entire incarnation. However, it's imperative that we're doing it during this time of transition, because again, to Lauren Schneider's dream, it's only the transition that's scary. It's only this time. I think it's called the peduncle, the thin part of a bottle, like a wine bottle or a champagne bottle. The thinnest point of the bottle is called the peduncle. And so it's like going through that tiny thing before, poof, what's on the other side? Well, you're at Genie, I dream of Genie. Once you're outside of the bottle, you're outside of the bottle. And everything becomes clear and apparent and present on offer. So no turning back, no detours, jackpot city, but be careful what we wish for. Be careful what we ask for, because it's universal law, this law of attraction. Everything's energy. And so we want to be emitting and asking for and receiving purely, not with illicit intentions. So Pam Youngins continued, at the same time, Saturn in Pisces is reminding us that our true authority lies not outside of us, but within, and that our goals are best achieved by relying on our spiritual wisdom and by accessing our ability to imagine and envision. These directives directly oppose Virgo's belief that solutions are found through practical analysis, efficient techniques, and making it work. See, it's like soul over ego, mind, personality, human. We need discernment, but this is a time when we need to harness discernment so that we will let go of, to Elizabeth's point, these energies that can cause us to spiral out of control. When we just sit in the eye of the storm, of the hurricane, and we listen, it's divine, it's neutral. We know what to do or not do. And we go as guided. We let go of the other noise, the chaos. The Saturn opposition to the eclipse could thus manifest as feelings of frustration that our usual methods and practical efforts do not have the hoped-for results. This is not about forcing issues. This is about being in the flow, being voluntary. And then Pam Youngins with North Point Journal, she concludes speaking about the Grand Trine, that beautiful blue triangle in the chart. An exciting factor in this Sunday's new moon eclipse is that it activates a Grand Trine with the Sun and Moon in close trine aspect to both high vibrational Uranus in Gemini and transformational Pluto in Aquarius. Since the luminaries are in an Earth sign and the two transpersonal planets are in air signs, this is known as a dissociate Grand Trine. According to astrologer Bill Turney in his book Dynamics of Aspect Analysis, this out-of-sign quality actually increases the effects of the configuration. Quote, the dissociate Grand Trine has a bit more drive and activation in its makeup than does the standard Grand Trine. Although it may seem less easy flowing for the individual, it has enough subtle tension to prevent it from otherwise operating too passively, end quote. With this new moon eclipse, which is also conjunct Mercury in Libra, watch for revolutionary new ideas to emerge, Uranus, and hidden information to be revealed, Pluto. Innovations and revelations have the potential of initiating major changes that will unfold over the next month and the next 6 months, until the next pair of eclipses occur in February and March 2026. So you see how these energies are tying in to this jump. Be ready to jump. And last week's jump, leaving it all in the past. We are transcending the old us, the old me, the old I. We're transcending where we have been. And we are going to be quantum leaping into the future. And so again, it's to remember both of these beautiful images. It's a mythical unicorn. This is you. This is us. And this beautiful white stallion that does represent Master Jesus. And so the purity of the opportunity before us. And it's a choice. It's an absolute choice of how we decide to move forward. 6 from the unseen. Peace be with you. And we've had this theme come through, and it's many times, of course, it's a greeting, but it's also after the crucifixion and resurrection, and the remaining apostles were in a room with the door locked, fearing for their safety. Master Jesus appeared, and he said to them, "Peace be with you." So it was both a greeting, but it was also a reminder that the divine is with us consistently, constantly, eternally, and that there is no obstruction, a locked door. There is nothing that prevents that, not even ourselves. So even when we may be angry with the divine, or frustrated, or obstructing, or not living quote unquote rightly. I had a client in Europe, in Ireland, that just asked this beautiful question: if I don't listen to my soul, does it abandon me? And the answer to that question, that beautiful question, is no, never. So while we, ego, mind, personality, human, may abandon or seek to abandon or believe that we are abandoning source, the divine, our soul, it's our true north. It never leaves us. We enter this life with it. We exit this life with it. And it remains ever patient with us. However, it will guide, or the cosmic 2x4s, whatever, because its purpose, its soul, S-O-L-E, and S-O-U-L, purpose, its sole purpose is true north, is to guide us in each incarnation to achieve what we came to do. And that is a beautiful also mantra, is in each instant ask, what did my soul say it would do? And anytime you feel off track and need realignment, there's a simple statement: I commit to doing what my soul said it would do. And that overrides everything. That allows all the chaos and the chatter and the fear and the anxiety to just fall away, dissipate, just because you're making a commitment to do what your soul said it would do. What did my soul say it would do? Oh, this is what it said. And you'll receive it, you'll know it. And then you say, okay, so I surrender this to follow this. And our beautiful mantra is, be ready. And it's another beautiful image of a phoenix rising, because that is this moral jump, be ready to jump. It's all about be ready. And it leads me to two things. Our key word is enthusiasm. It's about being childlike. And we've talked about this, and it bears reminding. So enthusiasm, intense and eager enjoyment, interest or approval, strong excitement of feeling, a feeling of energetic interest in a particular subject or activity, and an eagerness to be involved in it. Divine inspiration or intense excitement, intense emotion, compelling action. It is to be childlike, because when we do that, again, it makes things, children don't know any better. It's life and individuals and experience that people kind of pound into us as we're growing up. But watch children. They have no concept of something illicit. They can tell right from wrong. They know it. It's innate. But everything in life is a possibility. They're happy to go see the next adventure, or run to the playground, or get on their bikes and run, pedal through the forest. Children have this innate, and it's only grown-ups, I'm using a phrase, kind of beat that out of them. And so again, as we become adults and we're wherever we are, it's incumbent upon us to return to that childlike opportunity, that childlike innocence, awe, wonder, and harness it in service to something greater than ourselves. When we do that, in reciprocity, what's already coming back to us, it's 1,000-fold. And it just keeps in this beautiful, infinity symbol cycle of beautiful energy. And it's up to us. It's a choice. Each day it's a choice. And so it is that be ready. And it's number 8 then from the unseen. Spiritual readiness. Because all of this is talking about spiritual readiness. And this aspect is number 7 from the unseen. Where you are going, not everyone may follow or go. Be ready. And so spiritual readiness is the development of inner strength, character, and integrity through personal values, whether religious, non-religious, philosophical, or human, that enable an individual to find meaning, purpose, and resilience during times of stress, hardship, or tragedy. It encompasses having a strong sense of values, a connection to something greater than oneself, and the ability to make meaning of experiences. So it's about purpose and meaning, character and integrity, resilience and perseverance, connection, fostering a sense of belonging to something larger than oneself, which can be found in faith, community, service, one's soul source connection, this connection to the divine, to something greater. And of course, its benefits of spiritual readiness, it's improved well-being, enhanced performance, increased cohesion, unity, uniting, and reduced fear, anxiety, stress, because we're not in the ego, mind, personality aspect of self, we're in the soul aspect of self. And thereby, spiritual readiness is at the forefront. It's number 8. It's the infinity symbol. And so it is eternal wisdom, divine wisdom that says, spiritual readiness, be ready. When we're aligned that way, there's nothing we can't receive, achieve, overcome, transcend, transmute, because we're operating from a place of spiritual readiness. And where you are going, not everyone may follow or go. It immediately conjured or brought to mind the 10 maidens, the parable of the 10 maidens. And the Bible mentions the 10 maidens in Jesus' parable found in Matthew 25, 1-3. These 10 maidens are not individuals, but a symbolic group, 5 wise, 5 foolish, who went out to meet the bridegroom at night with their lamps, Master Jesus, the bridegroom. The parable illustrates the importance of spiritual readiness, vigilance, and an inner spiritual life, symbolized by oil, for the unexpected arrival of Christ at his second coming. So this is, of course, from a Christian perspective. However, again, transcend religion for a moment. Spiritual readiness is about faith, is about how one lives life, and how when each opportunity presents itself, are we spiritually ready? Are we walking the walk, talking the talk? Are we in alignment with the higher octave of ourself, so that our interactions, our deeds, our words, everything is in alignment with something higher, more pure, divine, because we are that divinity. And so the 10 maidens are a symbolic group. They represent members of the church or a visible group living in the right manner. They represent the wise and foolish. 5 are described as wise, having brought extra oil for their lamps. Remember, the oil represents spiritual life, spiritual wisdom, readiness, being in alignment with higher self. And then, while 5 are foolish, bringing no extra oil. So you can see this as states of consciousness, states of living properly. Who has extra oil because they're living in a way, it's the 2 paths, the 2 trees, the 2 houses. When we're on the narrow path, the correct path, and the tree of good fruit, and the house built on stone, we have extra oil. When we don't choose that, we don't have extra oil. And the symbolic meaning of oil often symbolizes the Holy Spirit, representing a deep spiritual connection and preparedness. This is soul source connection. This is going as guided. This is what this entire weekly Wisdom and Insights journey is about the awakening to, am I on the right path? Am I living in alignment with my soul? Not my ego, mind, personality self, but my soul self. Soul is the divine self. And it's about the purpose of, when we meet the bridegroom in any occasion, it symbolizes the light and it symbolizes the feast. And it's also then, this parable highlights the need for constant watchfulness and preparedness, as no one knows when Master Jesus Christ will return. And so again, and whether one believes that or not, the truth of the bedrock of its meaning, which is, how should we as human beings, divine beings, live on planet Earth? We should live in accordance with our higher octave selves, our divine soul selves. It's too easy to quote unquote just be, lazy and unconscious and so forth, and just be our human 3D self. Doesn't require much of us. Of course, that's in reciprocity what's coming back to us, that lower octave energy. We want higher octave energy, we got to step it up. We got to be ready to jump. So now let's move to Astrology by Lauren. And she's speaking about betwixt the eclipses and beneath the veil. And she begins with a quote from Nancy Wood. "You shall ask what good are dead leaves, and I will tell you they nourish the sore earth. You shall ask what reason is there for winter, and I will tell you to bring about new leaves. You shall ask why are the leaves so green, and I will tell you because they are rich with life. You shall ask why must summer end, and I will tell you so that the leaves may die." So you see this beauty in the cyclical. Remember, like astrology, it's cyclical, it's not identical. So each death and rebirth, the phoenix rising, the symbolic and the changing of eras and times and everything, it happens so that the beauty of life repeating, meaning renewing itself. And this is that beautiful quote from the master, you cannot plant a large tree in a small pot. It's impossible. It's the mandrakes from Harry Potter. We're being uprooted and transplanted into a larger container, because the era that we came from and the era that we are moving to, that we are in, requires a new, larger container. The expansion of self is going to occur, and all of this is in preparation for that. And yes, again, I understand, and I got the Lady Jacqueline in my head like, yes, quote unquote, Rome is burning. Yes. However, and that does not prevent the what's before us, what came before us and what's before us, to arrive, to exist, to be. They can't, there's only the divine can stop time. Humans, it's laughable. And it's the Sabian symbol, by the way, for, I believe it's Pluto, about the thunderstorms that wipe out. And this is the degree. It's going to be sitting there for some time. That Sabian symbol, I'll pull it up in a second, is about, in essence, how the unseen, Mother Nature, the unseen, wipes away what mankind does. Even its most formidable structures, processes, institutions, in a nanosecond can be wiped away by a higher power, a higher force. So this is all about being in alignment with moving forward. So Astrology by Lauren. Reach down, deep down into Persephone's lair, where the fair maid descends beneath the veil, where the rivers of memory and forgetfulness flow, and where we find both the inception and the end of all things earthly. Forgetfulness combines with sacrificial loss when the eclipses fall in Virgo and Pisces. But they also prepare us for enlightenment by gathering the essence of all our experiences, memories, and life events. And so, in the afterlife, the initiated were instructed to drink from the river of Mnemosyne, named for the goddess of memory, to be released from the necessity of rebirth. But as Persephone descends into the underworld at this time of year, Demeter wanders the earth in mourning. This is Persephone's mother, rending her garments and laying the lands barren of vegetation as she grieves in her sorrow. It is the crone, Hecate, the goddess of winter, who finally comes to tell Demeter what came of her child. And it is after Mabon and the autumnal equinox that we celebrate the season of the emerging crone. On the 21st and 22nd, the autumnal equinox stands at the balance between darkness and light. This year, the solar eclipse occurs just before the sun enters Libra, giving this period extra significance as a turning point in our lives. This week, we stand betwixt and between the two eclipses. In the veil between the worlds, all we can do is walk through to the other side. This is about jump, be ready to jump. This is about walk through the fire. And again, we've talked about this before where it's like, and again, 9 times out of 10, when someone does that and they finally walk through the fire and they get to the other side, it can be instantaneous, it can be moments or a few days or minutes later, and you have this epiphany, this awareness of, what took you so long? Why didn't I do this sooner? What was I so afraid of? But because it's the beast that we don't know, it's the unknown, humans tend to stay with the beast they know. Instead of transcending it, letting it fall away, Phoenix rising, let it fall away, and be that mythical unicorn, that white stallion, that horse medicine spirit that says, we've got this. And when I get to the other side, well, how much more expansive am I? Because you're the new you, not the old you. Astrology by Lauren, she continues. And so, between the Pisces and Virgo eclipses, we are asked to also celebrate the emerging crone. The crones were the elders who carried the wisdom of the ages on their shoulders, which had been gathered and honed through sheer experience. In ancient times, they served as storytellers, the teachers, the healers, and guides who led the way. And for each of us, there is this recognition that we are entering this dark time of year to go within and meet our own inner crone. We do this to assimilate all that we have gained, all that we have learned, not only so that we can better plan for the year ahead, but to be able to connect with spirit so that we may never lose sight of what really matters in the end. And this is, again, Neptune and Saturn are retrograde. They're moving back to the very last degrees of the very last sign, Pisces, this culmination point of everything, so that we are prepared to jump, prepared to solidly and officially enter the new. And that occurs in the early parts of 2026, February, March, April, officially in the new. And she concludes, Astrology by Lauren, as I sit here at my husband's bedside, I realize the lessons we can learn from the process of dying, the grief, the sacrifice, but also the sacred ritual of transition, including the need to withdraw from the outer world to commune inwardly with spirit. See, it's only that transition that's scary. So we equate death with mortality with something scary. But it's only the transition that's scary. Leaving this era, this time that we have been in, that we know, it's the beast we know, creates and causes fear, which is what we're seeing on the world stage. All of this patriarchal, shadow aspect, divine masculine fear. And that's not just men, that is the shadow aspect of the divine masculine in all of us, in everything. And how we've come so far out of alignment from its purity, its truth, And thus, as we transition from Piscean patriarchal, divine masculine, to Aquarian matriarchal, divine feminine, that transition can be scary. It can be filled with grief, uncertainty, sacrifice. And yet, but also, to Astrology by Lauren, but also the sacred ritual of transition, including the need to withdraw from the outer world to commune inwardly with spirit. This is Elizabeth's point. If I stay out here, I can get crazy. It can get crazy. If I stay right here and I realize that it's divine neutral and I listen to my soul, it's safe. It's nourishing. I know what to do. So, gathering the experience of lifetimes and lifetimes, we can then carry that pure essence forward. There can be beauty in liminal spaces, in the pauses in breaths, in the gradual withdrawal from what was to then face what is yet to come. May we never lose sight of the things that truly matter, for that is what we will bring with us in the end, and so may it be. And Astrology by Lauren, she could not be more on point. It's not the masks, the labels, the identities, the physical belongings, our titles, and how much money in the bank we have, and how big our home is, and all of that stuff. None of that matters, because that's not what we take with us. What we take with us are the indelible energies represented by choices and events and experiences that imprint the soul. That's what we take with us. There's, as my sister says all the time, it's not like God rolls up with the U-Haul and says, okay, let's bring your stuff. That doesn't happen. We know that. It does not happen. So, spiritual readiness. Be ready. Jump. Be ready to jump. Listening to your heart's desire. Go as guided. And no turning back, no detours, just jackpot city, jackpot lane. And this rapture versus rupture. We want rapture, not rupture. And this peace be with you. And where you are going, not everyone may follow, may go. Because we all make individual choices. We are all here, and whatever somebody chooses, then that's right for them. Namaste, I bow to the divine in you. However, that doesn't mean that it has to be your choice. It doesn't mean that you have to condone it or go along. And this also says, it's 7, the foundation of God's word, divine fulfillment, divine completion, magic, awe, wonder. It means where you are going, when you listen to your soul source connection, when you live in that lane, not everyone is going to follow. People will fall out of your lives. Namaste. I bow to the divine in you. That's okay. Let it be. Each will come of their own accord or not. Each will make these decisions. Each will be intentional or involuntary. And we're just going to close with our 2 quotes. One who possesses something great should not make it too full. And this is by the Master. And this is to remind everyone, humility. Authenticity and humility. One who possesses something great should not make it too full. Don't be full of yourselves. There's no need to shout from the rooftops and everything. It's just a simple I am. And that force, like horse medicine, that force will carry you places that others fail to even conceptualize or recognize. And lastly, the gem cannot be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trials. And this is by Confucius. And so we have this beautiful gift of understanding that we are this precious, this is a topaz, raw topaz stone, gem. The gem cannot be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trials. We are in a state of trials, a state of honing and polishing, a state of reflection, but also this state of emerging into the new us, the new you, the new world. And so we will talk about the eclipse energies next week. They occur on the Sunday, the 21st. We're going to talk about them in next week's show and see where that's all leading. So until then, be well, be safe, and listen to your heart's desire. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to Dearjames Live. Gain intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions, and so much more by tuning in next week and visiting dearjames.com.